It was called the Big Store. For decades, it was a symbol of fashion and flair on Woodward Avenue in Detroit, Michigan. The massive 410-foot tall building with 32 floors made it the tallest department store in the world. The story of J.L. Hudson's department store in Detroit has a humble beginning. J.L. Hudson and his father ran a clothing store in Ionia, Michigan, until the Panic of 1873 closed the sawmills and ultimately their store. His dad died, and he went bankrupt, paying off his creditors 60 cents on the dollar. Hudson moved to Detroit and decided to try it again. At the age of 35, he opened his store, J.L. Hudson's, on the ground floor of the old Detroit Opera House on April 2, 1881. Within 7 years, he was so successful, he looked up all the creditors from his prior bankruptcy and paid them in full, with compound interest. Hudson's a legend in the Motor City. He was generous with his time and his money. He organized Detroit's associated charities, which laid the groundwork for the United Way Foundation. Hudson also created the most liberal return policy for customers, a policy that other stores nationwide adopted. In 1891, Hudson moved his store to its new location, which would eventually grow to encompass an entire city block down to Woodward Avenue. Most of this expansion would occur under the direction of Hudson's 4 nephews, Richard, Oscar, James, and Joseph Weber. Hudson employed them at an early age, training them to one day take over his business, since he had no children of his own. That day came in 1912 when Hudson died. The brothers loved the business and their hometown. They brought more structure and adapted to a changing market. Hudson's thrived, and the iconic red brick building became a juggernaut. Whatever was new, Hudson's had it first. The numbers associated with this enormous historic building are incredible. The store was over 2 million square feet, spread out over 25 floors, 2 half floors, a mezzanine, and 4 basements. There were more than 200 departments over the whopping 49 acres of floor space. Hudson's carried anything a person could want. Young kids were especially drawn to the floor dedicated entirely to toys. It was the epicenter of style, shopping, services, and even shows. Hudson's hosted demonstrations, exhibits, and performances in its auditorium. It had 51 passenger elevators, 17 freight elevators, the largest of which could hold a semi-trailer, 8 employee elevators, and 48 escalators. There were 3 transformer centers in the store that generated enough electricity to power a city of 20,000 people. Customer service was important at Hudson's. In fact, Hudson's had one of the world's largest switchboards, with 60 operators, where they fielded up to some 32,000 calls a day. Other conveniences in the store included 50 restrooms for women, with the largest on the 4th floor housing a staggering 85 stalls. There were 39 restrooms for men and 10 private ones for executives. Hudson's also had an astonishing 705 fitting rooms. They also had a circulating library, a writing lounge, and offered dry cleaning services. Hudson's had 7 restaurants and cafeterias, with 3 more added during the Christmas season. They served an average of 10,000 meals a day, and this doesn't include the 6,000 meals a day served to employees in their own cafeteria. The famous Maurice salad and Canadian cheese soup could be found on the 13th floor dining room. Large civic events were also a hallmark of Hudson's in Detroit. They began to host their own holiday parade on Thanksgiving Day in 1924. This annual event grew to be one of the largest in the country, attracting millions of spectators in the 1950s. The end of the parade was always the same, with the mayor giving the key to Detroit to Santa, who then took up residence in a castle built on the marquee. During Christmas, the 49 large street-facing windows, along with the 50 interior display windows, featured lavish holiday decorations. Hudson's had the unusual distinction of owning the world's largest flag. In 1923, on Armistice Day, Hudson's unfurled the 3,700 square foot American flag, hanging it on the Woodward Avenue side of the building. The flag required 1 mile of rope to hang it up. It was later displayed in 1939 at the World's Fair. In 1950, the flag was replaced with an even bigger one that needed 55 men to hang up the new 7-story flag. It was later donated to the Smithsonian. Hudson's also sponsored the first beloved Freedom Festival firework display on the Detroit River. In 1956, Life magazine featured a cutaway view of Hudson's, showing the hustle and bustle of the dominating department store during its heyday. In the 1950s and 60s, Hudson's expanded to the suburbs, opening both standalone stores and those in shopping centers. In 1969, Hudson's was purchased by Dayton's of Minneapolis, now calling it Dayton Hudson's. But as Detroit began to suffer economic decline in the 1970s and 1980s, so did Hudson's. The downtown store closed in January of 1983, after more than 90 years in business. The corporate offices remained there until 1990, when the building was sold. The remaining stores were rebranded as Marshall Field's and later as Macy's. After many attempts to save the iconic building, the city of Detroit finally imploded it in October of 1998. J.L.Hudson's is remembered today as a symbol of glamour for 3 generations, teeming with life and activity. Thanks for watching Memory Mountain. If you enjoyed this video, please click to subscribe to our channel and hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to tap the notification bell so you'll be one of the first to know when we post our next story looking back over the landscape of Americana.